So yeah, I'm gonna try and keep this lighthearted. Gonna kind of keep it brief if I can. I think my presentation is scheduled to be over 15 minutes from now, so this might go quite quickly. But as we said, there's a speaker panel afterwards, and I welcome all your questions or any concerns you have. First thing I wanted to do is introduce myself. So, as I said, lighthearted. It's me. So essentially, all you really need to know as far as BIM. It's kind of ironic because civil consultants in the civil industry in general has always been slow to catch up on BIM technologies. For example, something called InfraWorks. And I say it's ironic because Civil 3D was one of the first true BIM softwares that was ever out there. It's dynamic, has dynamic subassemblies, has information attached to pipes and clash detection and everything. We've been doing this for decades, and yet we're the ones that are kind of slow to catch on to most of the VR and AR technology. So you're going to see that change very quickly. You're going to see that boom. I've been using something called Autodesk Infrastructure Model. We were just talking about it back in 2012. We went to Autodesk University, and that's when the software was introduced, and been using it weekly, if not daily, ever since, and almost on every single project we have. So, oh, my pictures went away. There's C3PO. And there's R2D2, but I couldn't really find the acronym that matched. So if you know your old Star Wars, picture some images there. I had a feeling some images would disappear here, so it's that one. So essentially the definitions, I didn't want to go around the room and kind of do hands and ask where everybody's from and what kind of part you belong to, planning, long-term planning, planning approvals. There's like 90 different categories of planning, so we didn't really want to bounce around that. The point I wanted to make here is that the C3 represents, I kind of lumped it for this presentation into, are you a contractor, are you a consultant, or are you in a civic field? And by civic field, I mean, are you either on the civic side running civic approvals, or are you maybe an owner, a land developer, somebody with a project that has to go through a civic approval process? So I kind of just, for speed, lump those together, and then achieving a PO is C3 PO for purchase order. It's kind of cheating. All right, it works. Yeah, okay. And then on the side, R2C3, it really speaks to what is BIM in civil. And a lot of those things you see, Revit and Rhino and 3ds Max, even SketchUp. We're civil guys, almost exclusive civil office. How are you doing? We do have a planning component. We use all those softwares. SketchUp's part of our daily lives as civils as well. So the more software you can get introduced to, definitely the better. Oh, there they are. I did a fade. That's awesome. I can use a lot of technology. I cannot use PowerPoint. So BIM commonalities, no matter what sector you're in, one of the things that you can see through the advantages of using BIM software, and particularly I kind of lean towards InfraWorks because that's kind of the main player in kind of future technologies and future developments that Autodesk has focused a lot of attention to. But commonalities, no matter where you are in the civic field or consultant field or contractor field, are facilitating understanding, rapid consumption, and by that I mean translation of essentially GIS and metadata into something that's visual for quick understanding. Collaboration, obviously, we can use Revit, we can use any Autodesk software, FBX files, IMX files, and trade all these files, so that's easy. It gets a little more difficult when you hit an architect who's maybe using, sorry, friend out there, who's maybe using, it doesn't matter if it's Rhino or if it's SketchUp, it's making sure everything's translated, including things like the material base and those files, so that these visualizations and realizations in BIM can actually be a true interpretation of an architect's vision. And then use it from the onset, and I say you probably already are, just a reference to Civil 3D, again, that this is BIM, and it's been around forever, so. So if you're on the civic field, I can't say it enough, GIS, get used to GIS, get used to metadata, get used to breaking down the metadata, get into some programming, get into some coding. This is huge for the civic field because we, even as a consultant, you have the ability, if there's a great GIS database, which luckily Kamloops has with a lot of metadata attached to it, that you can directly import into Civil 3D the full utility, not only the full utility, automatically populated size, diameter, material, thickness, and actually attach when it was installed and when it's due to be replaced. All like 5 minutes, click, if all the metadata is there. So definitely get into that. Take a break to breathe. Yeah, rapid modeling various neighborhoods, cities. So the image you see in the background there, this is downtown Kelowna, and there's the lake and the mountains in behind. That entire downtown model, luckily the city of Kelowna has GIS building envelopes. So that entire downtown model took us about an hour and a half to put together. And those structures you see, particularly this tower and that tower in the distance, thanks, are one is a SketchUp file and one is a Rhino file, which is translated to a Collada file, a DAE file. But so these are, again, a situation of multiple information bases that are kind of all conglomerating into one. So to get these civil renderings and visualizations, you really do need to, you almost need to occasionally tell someone in their own software how it works and how to export it. So just one thought. Yeah, live georeference. And public engagement is huge for this stuff. And particularly I say that for public engagement when I do something like this. This is another potential cluster of towers in downtown Kelowna. And it's georeference shadow casting. So we received, you see that triple structure in the middle with a podium, and you'll start to see the shadow, where are we now, June 21st, wrap around the side here. So as I said, when I said we modeled up that downtown in 2 hours, we brought this model in, luckily this was SketchUp from IBI, we brought this model in 15 minutes, and we had this entire shadowcast lake sunset presentation done in 2 hours. Literally, somebody asked us, are you interested in putting a proposal for this project? And we said, yeah, we'll get you the proposal end of the day, but in 2 hours at lunch, we said, here's what it looks like, by the way, because it's just that quick, and that's in the context of the entirety of downtown. So yeah, the results, again, if you're civic side, public input, concept refinement, staff approvals. I mean, shadow casting is a huge thing for the general public. And then also a sense of public realm. In InfraWorks, you can get down to the gutter line. Like I can go to, I don't know if you know, like Liquid Zoo in Kelowna. I can go to the gutter and see where people sleep after they get wasted in Kelowna. As a consultant, this is a common theme. It's GIS, it's GIS, it's GIS, and particularly with metadata. It's the metadata that's attached to the GIS that you have to learn to manipulate and import, and that metadata doesn't have to lie within a shapefile. That's also metadata that translates from other disciplines, models as well within BIM. So preliminary layout analysis, this is a custom road cross section we did for obviously residential subdivision. Just another example of how we put this together. But those are benched and graded models and everything. One of the things we did, there's a bench that's just in behind. And there's some existing homes there, and all those existing homes are 1.2, 1.5 million, and they have lake views. So one of the things we did was we graded and bombed down these homes at a lower elevation. And then we took all the existing homes that are on the front perimeter of what this is as bare land and is future to be residential. And we were able to, those 12 homes that we knew would be at the public engagement losing their minds, we were able to take a lakeview shot, turn the existing homes red, turn the proposed homes all rendered, and show them from their actual main floor and from their second floor window how it affects their view. And people literally came in a rage. Oh, no, I live here. You say, what house are you? If this is house 1 to 14. I'm house 12. Here you go. Oh, that's great. I still have a view. Gone. Public engagement done. So it doesn't always work like that, but that was a really good example on that one. In-depth slope analysis. This is more for if you're looking to seek approvals from the civic side. There are so many rules. There's wildfire zones, hillside zones, specific zonings, developments. You got public right-of-ways, you got easements, you got SROWs, you got First Nations land, you have ALR lands, and all of these things are layers and layers and layers of georeference things that we need to incorporate in BIM to do an actual true analysis of what land value is. So that's just another example, and that's that conflict I was telling you. So these are the existing home keys, and this is literally her pool. This is the aerial image of her pool. These are the new proposed homes. So the point was to show all these homes are going in, but as you're in your pool, your lake views, and this is the blue lake in the background, your lake views no more disturbed than the existing homes already do. Lots of other stuff we can do in BIM within civil that's particular to transportation approvals. So we do have the ability to run transportation analysis and even randomize pedestrian movements across intersections to just check for loading times in intersections, but as well as potential dangers and stacking for pedestrians and conflicts. Storm catchment analysis, this disclaimer. So there's a lot of analysis that can be done in the cloud. And that's the other advantage of BIM, is you can grow these massive, massive databases in the cloud, and you can also have those massive databases compute something for you and walk away and do other work and come back and look like a hero because it's done and now Autodesk did it for you. So these are other examples. One thing I say with disclaimer is it's always based on USGS regulations, US government regulations, which are 90% of the time adopted and minorly changed for Canada and Canadian cities, but should have had water on the video. So, going back to InfraWorks, it is an Autodesk product, which means FBX files, IMX files, Revit files, they have this commonality in translation, Civil 3D, DWG files, so that we can take files, make quick adjustments to certain products, like this subdivision you see here. We can do it all and grade it all in Civil 3D and send it to InfraWorks, and because it's part of that same file, it just auto updates. So it's quick, live changes, quick analysis of concepts, and that's all cloud-based benefits to BIM. So for a contractor, so that is one area that doesn't translate well from almost all BIM to the person with the paper who's supposed to build it. And a lot of people argue it's a lack of training. A lot of people argue it's overcomplicated and overdesigned or underdesigned. But truly, I think the benefits for BIM in civil for a contractor are massive. For example, more GIS information. So even if it's something as simple as, and I think it's on the next slide, as showing a contractor what the alignment of some deep utilities they're supposed to install, what that alignment is, what every single piece should be, and giving it at the tender process for a municipality in a Google Earth overlay. So they can just walk with their cell phone along the alignment on Google Earth and click, oh, this is where that type of pole box is, or that's where that type of manhole is. And they can confirm this on something as universal as Google Earth. Obviously that caters to a visual understanding and procurement. How am I doing? Close, okay. So that's the example. That's just Google Earth. So we just sent an entire project in a tender package for ease of understanding and information. Obviously the tender package takes precedence, but that's in Google Earth. You can click on any single one of those numbers and see exactly what you have to install where, and you can zoom in on your little cell phone. You don't have to have fancy software. It's universally translatable. And then results, yeah, for a contractor especially, more rapid ability to change things. So you're always going to run into unforeseen circumstances. You'll find underground water sources. You'll have to make some changes to alignments or pieces or portions. And the ability to just dynamically adjust this in 3D, lift the thing up and down, twist it sideways a little bit, and see the results instantly and be able to send that to the contractor in a live model. That's one of the main horsepowers of BIM is also the cloud renderings. Now, additional stuff, because I did contractor, consultant, and I did civic, is land development. Didn't really talk about those guys. So when you're getting something approved through that civic process, even through a due diligence project, not even due diligence process, even if you're looking at buying a piece of land and you don't know about it and it's a large value, just go to your civil consultant, because this is the 5-minute answers. You can amass a massive amount of data from multiple different sources of databases. So if you're a developer out of Vancouver and you've never developed in Kamloops or Kelowna or Vernon, I have all that data of all their pipes, utility networks, their ages, their infrastructure for every single legal lot in one place. So I don't have to fumble around and go to this city website here, this city's website here, and try and struggle and find an answer. I start that software first thing in the morning. I get a call, doesn't matter where they're trying to design or build, I can tell them in 5 minutes, your sandy pipe's asbestos, you're gonna have to remediate all that. Your water line's too small, you got this problem, and you got gravel shoulder on the sidewalk. All 5 minutes. Workarounds. This is something that's like my pride and joy and such a pain, is getting these files and figuring out why they don't work. And it happens daily. So for example, you go on Google Earth and I'm like, man, there must be a way to have that slope analysis I did show up in Google Earth in like small tiles so I can send it to people who are interested in property in that area and I can tell them how much land they can develop out of it. No, the internet doesn't even know. Not even like Russia knows. Russia knows everything. So 48-step workaround and we got it done. So it's really playing with that metadata and trying to figure out those issues as they pop up. Yeah, and that's just an example of, that's a PDF, and that PDF is 150 meg. So I can't actually send it to anyone, which is nice. But that's a zoom in of one little patch of Kelowna, and that is the example that I was talking about. So that's a value analysis, overlaying ALR lands, slope analysis, wildfires, all those hazardous areas, all those little pieces, road right-of-ways, everywhere where you can't build. That's what's left in that part of the city. And for me to leverage that for a prospective buyer or developer to tell them, I can give you the civic address of a good piece of property. Look at that white square thing in the top. Call that guy. That thing's good to go. It's perfect. So huge power in all this BIM. Yeah, back to Star Wars. Now, this is why I'm kind of excited to speak at a university and to students who will understand this, because I could get booed. Distributed ledger technology, who's in on it? Anybody know about it? What if I say blockchain? Anyone? The old guys are putting their hands up? Okay, so what if I say Bitcoin? Yeah, there you go. So now I look like a crazy person because I said Bitcoin. That's weird. I thought you guys would be on this more. So distributed ledger is going to be massive in BIM, and I don't care about Bitcoin. Autodesk is working on this. It's on their website. Trimble, who owns SketchUp and SketchUp Warehouse, are working on this. It's on their website. So essentially what it is smart contracts. So smart that if you're hired by an owner and you're the architect and you have to design a preliminary design, which has a certain set of components or standards you have to meet, Autodesk is looking at using its own software to scan and vet that that's complete, garner acceptance from the owner, automatically trigger payments to move forward, automatically send that model to all the other subs, and trigger the start of their contracts for design. All vetted through the cloud. So this is going to be absolutely massive. And that's about all I got.
No, that's perfect. You didn't need to rush. That was good. Ben's running away, and I had a question for him.
Oh, yeah, far away.
I got to remember what it was.
Here's the speaker panel, so kill me then.
Yeah. So Ben, you've been involved with this technology for a number of years now and using it actively in your industry. How are you finding when clients are coming to you? Are they asking you for this, or are you using it as a value added and saying, hey, I can do this for you as well?
So that goes back to kind of what I said about it's not only that it's our own fault as civil consultants that we seem to be latent on this BIM adoption and this BIM technology. So to be honest with you, most of the time the technique we use to leverage BIM technology and show the value to a client is shock and awe.
Yeah, really.
We prepare a model before they come in 4 hours, and they just say, we got an idea for a project. And I say, what's the address? I'll see you at noon.
Right.
And they show up at noon, and the whole project's modeled, all their utilities are there, everything's referenced, and they just say, we don't want to use anyone else.
Right.
There's other things, especially for the civic side, for municipal approval process, where especially InfraWorks is something where you can publish a model. That model exists in the cloud. That means it's accessible to any member of the public that your owner or you choose to fully navigate in 3D by a web link from the comfort of their own home. So for public approval process and public feedback, which you can give instantly by clicking a button and giving your feedback, that's a massive one, in addition to everything we talked about, which I didn't really get in depth into. That tower, one of the towers there that was given to us in SketchUp, I have an iPad Pro, and the only reason I have it is for augmented reality. I go outside the office, that's across the lane for me. I stand in a bare parking lot, I look through my camera, I look down, yep, the hydrant's there, that's in my model. I look up, and there's the 18-story tower overlaid onto a gravel lot.
Yeah, right.
So it's shock and awe.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Ben. Excellent.